Good evening and welcome to the Hatha Yoga Center. I'm Chris and this is our 5:30 all levels class. I'm teaching for Key. She's going to be out of town visiting her parents for the next week, so I will be covering all of her classes. And since people are going to start showing up, I'm just gonna wait for a moment. Hi, Sasha. So maybe we could start in a seated position, and that way if anybody has any requests for class tonight, I can see them. So maybe come to a seated position and find your seat, find your sit bones, and find your spine. And just find your breath for a moment. Just bringing yourself into the awareness of your breath and beginning to re-embody yourself after your day. So breathing more consciously. And if you have any requests for practice, please feel free to let me know what they are. Hi, Shivanti. Something meditative. Okay. Well, maybe we can do some pranayama. Sometimes it's nice to stop in the middle and do some pranayama, so maybe we'll do something like that. And so yeah, just thinking of your practice tonight as a moving meditation. So taking a couple more breaths before we start moving. Just feeling the breath coming in and out through your nose. Maybe you can soften your shoulders. And still feel how your spine is lengthening up. And how heavy you are in your lower body, grounded. And then you might bring your hands together at your heart, and if you'd like to set an intention for your practice tonight, you could pause and do that now. Just taking a breath. And then let's start at the front of our mats. So, just bringing yourself, I'm gonna actually leave my glasses over here so I don't break them. So let's come to the front of our mats and just find our feet on the floor. So you could look down at your feet and let them be hip width and pretty much parallel. Spreading your toes, and just feel how you're grounding yourself, and you can feel kind of like the lift that you get from gravity. So just kind of moving around a little bit until you find a place where you're the weight of your body is sort of balanced over the feet. Your head right on top of the shoulders, your shoulders over your rib cage over pelvis, finding the natural curves of your spine. Bringing your hands together at your heart, and then raising your arms and lengthening up. So grounding your sacrum and lifting your pubic bone, lifting your sternum. And finding your breath here. You can move a little bit, just again, feeling your feet on the floor and feeling length up the sides of your body. Feeling the breath. Finding your gaze, and then exhale, coming forward, hinging forward at the hips, long spine. And coming into your forward bend, so you can have your knees bent quite a bit, just finding your spine here, keeping the breath nice and fluid, moving in the energy through your body, so you don't feel stuck. You might experiment with just a slight closure at the back of your throat for Ujjayi breathing, just to help stay focused during your practice. Just bringing your attention back to your breath again and again. And then from here we'll step the left foot back, bringing your knee down, bringing the weight of your body up and over the left knee, and then let the arms float up. So feeling how your shoulder blades are still sliding down the back of your rib cage even as you're reaching. Again, lifting your gaze. So working with your gaze, your drishti, and with the breath. Again, feeling this grounding of your sacrum and the lift through your pubic bone and through your heart and through the crown of the head. One more breath here, and then exhale, bring the hands down and step back to downward facing dog. So maybe the knees are bent quite a bit, spreading your hands, wrapping your elbows in, sliding the shoulders down your rib cage. Maybe you're bending into one knee and the other. Again, keeping the breath nice and steady and somewhat relaxed. And just another breath here, lifting your tail. And then we'll exhale and come forward into plank pose. So holding plank for a few breaths. So the hips are kind of centered in between the crown of the head and the heels. Lifting the belly. And then just bring your knees down and let's do a little bit of cat-cow. So just coming to your hands and knees, rounding your spine. Exhale, lift your belly, tip your pelvis, arching your back. Inhaling, exhale, rounding into cat. Inhale into cow. One more time through. Moving with the breath, and then coming back to your hands and knees to tabletop and stepping back again into your plank pose. And then from plank, keeping your elbows tucked by your sides, coming down just a couple inches with your elbows and holding. And then maybe to your knees and all the way onto your belly, sweeping your arms back, clasping your hands at your sacrum. And you could try rolling if you like, rolling onto your side, kicking the head back, feeling the shoulder blades, sliding, breathing, and then rolling to the other side. And then back onto your belly. And just taking another breath there. And release. Bring your hands under your shoulders, bend your knees, tuck your toes and lift your tail, coming back to your downward facing dog. So finding the breath here again. And you might take your right foot and step it up and back over the left foot, bringing the sole of your right foot to the floor. You can always bend the left knee a little bit. So wrapping your elbows in and reaching as you lift your right hip away from your hands, so you're stretching all along the right side of your body. And then stepping back through center and stepping your left foot over the right, bringing the sole of your left foot to the floor, lifting your left hip. Nice steady breath. And back to center. Just feeling a little lower back stretch there. And then we'll step the left foot forward and bring your left knee down, your right knee down, and come into the low lunge again. So the weight is right over the right knee. Lifting the gaze, finding the breath, staying focused. Just another breath here. And then stepping forward into your forward bend. Again, hinging at the hip, keeping your long spine. And just taking a pause. Feeling how the forward bend is a little bit more calming for your nervous system. And then swinging the arms up, reaching up, lengthening up, and bringing the hands back together at the heart. And just pause for a moment. I'm just going to see if there's any other requests. Nope. Okay. Meditative. So let's, again, come to the front of our mat. find your feet, you're probably already there, and raise your arms. And lengthen up. Exhale, come forward into your forward bend. Finding your long spine. And then let's step the right foot back and stay low in the lunge. So maybe the left side of your abdomen is right up alongside the inner thigh. And just take a couple breaths there. Keep lifting your head and shoulders, so you might have to be up. You could come up to the knee if you need to keep your spine long. And then from there, we'll step back to downward facing dog. So really feel your hands spreading, feel the palms just slightly lifting, and the fingers touching the floor. Lift your tail. And then you might take a shoulder variation here. You could reach your right hand back for the left lower leg or ankle, maybe looking underneath your left arm. So a little bit of a twist, getting into the back of the right shoulder. And then bringing your right hand back and really press into the right hand. Wrap the elbow in and then reach left hand for right lower leg or ankle. Nice steady breath. And then releasing that, coming back to your downward facing dog. And then let's come forward with head lifted into plank pose. So strong in your legs, lifting belly, and then you might drop your knees or keep your knees lifted, coming through chaturanga, so bringing the elbows right next to the sides of your body, coming all the way down and up into perhaps this higher variation of cobra. So lengthening up, pressing into the floor, rolling your shoulders back, breathing. Again, finding your gaze, be lifted. And then elbows bent by your sides, coming back down, and pressing back to downward dog, bending your knees, tucking your toes, and lifting your tail. Finding the breath there. And then you could maybe put those two variations that we did together. So you might step your right foot back up and over the left, and then maybe reaching for your right lower leg or ankle, or even for the left ankle. Really press into your left hand, keeping the shoulders stable there, and then coming back through center, and then maybe stepping left foot up and over right, bring the sole of your left foot down, lifting your left hip, reaching back with your left hand for your left or right lower leg or ankle, if that's possible for you. And then back to center. And then from there, we'll step the right foot forward, coming into the low lunge, so pretty big step forward. And you can always have the hands on the knees, just keeping your spine long, keeping the shoulders and the head lifted, breathing. And then we'll step forward into the forward bend. You could try walking your feet a little bit wider here, so maybe like the width of a mat, and then coming into a squat. So if you're not ready for a full squat yet, you just come part of the way down, or maybe you can bring yourself further. You can always keep the heels lifted if you need to. Maybe the toes are slightly turned out, so finding your spine there. Just another breath. And then coming into your forward bend. Again, walking the feet in a little closer. And sweeping the arms up. And reaching up. And then bringing the hands together at the heart. And so find your breath here for a moment. You could close your eyes. Just feel your heart beating. Just kind of letting yourself come back to a calmer state. And then let's go again, raise the arms. Lengthen up. And then exhale forward. You can always bend the knees. You could experiment actually with bending your knees and bringing your chest towards your thighs. And then maybe you could reach back and grab for the back of your ankles and just see where you are with it, just straightening your legs. So at some point, you can't really straighten them anymore without rounding the back. So just noticing. Maybe let your head relax a little, your neck. And then from there, let's step back to downward facing dog. So coming into down dog. Just noticing how down dog feels. It starts to change, kind of the nature of the pose changes a little bit as you go. Starts to become a little bit more of a resting pose, perhaps. Breathing. And then let's step the right leg to the front of the mat and come up into warrior one. So your feet are hip width and your hips are square. Just coming a little deeper. Back knee could be bent to keep this pubic bone lifting, grounding through the sacrum. So we're not pitched forward. Breathing. And then bring your hands together at your heart and take a twist. Maybe bringing your left elbow to the right knee. And opening into the twist. So really strong in your left leg, lifting a little under the left thigh. Turning the heel in slightly. Maybe looking back. Just another breath. And then slowly unwinding and stepping back to downward facing dog. So we're going to do some poses off of downward dog. Nice steady breath. Feeling you can always come to your knees and come into prayer if you need a break. You don't need me to tell you that. Or you can just stay with your down dog and feel it, feel how it changes. And then from there, we'll step the left foot forward, back heel lifted, back knee is bent. So coming into your lunge, finding your gaze, finding your breath, staying focused. And one more breath there, and then bringing the hands together at the heart, and coming into the twist, maybe the right elbow to the left knee, opening the chest, little lift under your right thigh, maybe you're looking back. Nice steady, strong breath. And then releasing and stepping back again to downward facing dog. And just taking a couple breaths here. And then let's come forward into plank. Keeping the head lifted. And come again through the push-up with the knees down if you need to, into your upward, well, we call this cobra. If you lift your thighs, then that's called up dog. So taking a breath or two there. Rolling the shoulders back and down. And then bending your knees. And coming back to downward dog. And then from here, let's step the right foot forward for pyramid. So feet are hip width. The toes of your left foot are angling out towards the edge of the mat. And so your hands might be up on your calf, on your shin, or maybe touching the floor, sometimes a block. But we're keeping our long spine. So draw your right hip back, left hip forward, keeping the head and the neck in line with the rest of the spine. Nice steady breath. So these are It's a big stretch for the back of your right leg. You're not imagining it. Just taking another breath, and then let's twist. So we're going to keep our left hand maybe on the shin, or maybe on the floor or a block, and then opening the chest. So reaching up, your legs stay very strong. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel how your thighs are kind of drawing towards each other, even as you draw that right hip back, left hip forward. And then bringing the hand down and pause for a moment. Just pause there in your pyramid. And then bending your right knee, step your left foot up. So toes are pointing down. This is warrior three. You have your fingertips maybe on the floor. And we'll take a twist here. So opening your chest again. Keep drawing that right hip back. And you might turn and look towards the side you're twisting. You could also try lifting your fingertips off the floor for a little more core activation. And then just unwinding slowly, stepping back to your pyramid legs, and just pause. And then we'll step back to downward facing dog. And so I'm going to turn around. So finding your down dog and feeling length kind of through both sides of your body. So wrapping the elbows in, maybe moving the hips a little. And then we'll step the left foot forward for pyramid. So straight legs. And feeling like the toes of your right foot are angling out towards the edge of the mat. And then maybe your hands might come to the floor, to a block, or maybe onto your shin, just keeping this nice, long, neutral spine. Feeling how you could bend your left knee a little bit and press your big toe into the floor and then draw the hip back, that left hip back. Just feeling where that hip is in space. So it's not crunching forward and contracting the left side of your body, just let it be long. Big stretch. One more breath there. And then opening into the twist. So fingertips of your right hand could stay on the floor or maybe on your shin or a block, opening up. So strong legs. Feeling that same sensation that you're drawing your right hip back. So both sides of the torso are long, chest is open. Your head is kind of coming back, so you're not bringing your head forward, and you're breathing. And then just release the arm and pause for a moment. Nice Ujjayi breathing, powerful breathing. And then we'll bend the left knee a little bit and step up, bringing your right foot up, pressing back through the heel. So this is warrior three with your fingertips on the floor, and then open into the twist. You might even play with lifting fingertips up off the floor. One more breath, and then bringing your hand back down and slowly stepping back to your pyramid. And take a breath, so transitioning smoothly and intentionally, consciously. And then we'll step back to downward facing dog. And take a breath. And then let's all bring our knees down and just come into prayer for a moment. You could bring your hips back towards your heels, maybe even bring your arms back. And rest your shoulders. Bringing your forehead down, breathing into your back. So letting the breath kind of almost like inflate the back of your body, even into your lower back. And then let's make our way back to downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg straight up. So see if you can do that without lifting the hip. So keeping your pelvis pretty square. And then you might stack your hips and maybe bend the knee and open that hip. So stretching the belly and of course pressing into both hands. So keeping your shoulders sliding down your rib cage and then straightening that leg up and drawing the knee forward for pigeon. So bringing the knee out towards the edge of the mat and slowly coming forward, maybe to your forearms, into pigeon. So keeping with your long spine and your free and deep breathing, and also with your gaze. So keeping the hands relaxed and just steady gaze, steady breath. Sometimes when we bring ourselves down closer to the floor, we can start to get distracted and get fidgety. So try to stay really focused in this meditative way. Just noticing what comes up for you. And then from there, let's twist. So bringing your forearm across the front of your mat, you might reach for your right knee with your left hand and sweeping your right hand back, maybe to the sacrum or buttock, and opening the chest. So the right shoulder's right over the right elbow, and you're kind of pressing into the floor and lifting up out of the shoulder. And then slowly unwinding. And then walking your hands in, let's take the right hand back and reach across for the left foot. So you're coming into a bit of a twist and also a stretch of the front of the shoulder. Keep that crown of the head lengthening up, feeling where your pelvis is. So it's kind of staying square and centered. Twist is happening in your upper body. Another breath. And then releasing that, you could bring your right hand down and maybe reach back with your left hand for the foot, maybe spinning your fingers around, bringing the heel towards the buttock. And if that's too much, just reach back with your hand and grab for the ankle. And if that's too much, you could just bring your hand to your thigh. But this way you can get a nice quad stretch. So lifting up, it's pretty intense, breathing, and then releasing. And then let's step back up to downward facing dog. And I'm just going to turn around and do the other side. So bringing yourself back to something like center. And then we'll step the left foot. Actually, we'll lift the left leg, sorry. Keep your hips pretty square. And press up through the heel of your left foot. And then stack your hips and bend the knee and open your hips. And then straightening that leg back up and drawing the knee forward for pigeon. Just setting yourself up and then coming forward, maybe to your forearms. So keeping finding a place where your pelvis is kind of centered. So you're not dropping over to the side too much. And finding your steady breath. Ujjayi breathing. And your gaze forward. And then maybe bringing the right elbow underneath the right shoulder, reaching for your left knee with your right hand. Left hand comes back to the sacrum or the buttock, twisting into the upper body is twisting, so opening up into the twist. Watch for your head to drop. Just keep your neck long. You can turn, look back behind you. Try not to lift the left hip. Just keep it right where it was. So the upper body is twisting. Nice steady breath. And slowly releasing that. And then we'll bring the right hand in, reaching back with your left hand for the right ankle. So kind of pull your ankle into your hand so that you can get that stretch. You might play with the placement of your hand so that the shoulder can open. And you might feel that in the front of your belly and the psoas, and the hip flexors. And then release that. Bringing your left hand down, right hand back. So maybe like this, or maybe you can bring the heel towards your buttock, maybe even spinning the fingers, and stay lifted. So it's a big quad stretch. Breathing. And release that foot. And then step back to downward facing dog. So spreading your hands about shoulder width and lifting up. And maybe just a little bending into one knee and the other, bringing yourself back to something like symmetry. Back to center. And then let's come to the knees and let's come to dolphin. So you could have your forearms on the floor and your hands spread, or you can also clasp the hands. Either one is fine. This is a little bit easier on the shoulders. So you might notice how if you open your palms, and then we're not rounding the shoulders in, we're just turning the forearms. So we're keeping the shoulders open so they rotate without rolling the shoulders in. Then lift your hips. You can keep your knees bent if you need to and kind of walk the feet in. And so now you're in dolphin. You're probably looking at the floor. You might lift one leg. So find your steady breath. And let that leg come down, lift the other leg. Press up through the heel, maybe on the ball of the foot on the other side. Breathing, bring that leg down, come back to your knees, and then rest your shoulders for a moment. You can come to child's pose, bring your hands back, rest your head. And then let's come to a forearm plank pose. So, same position of the arms, and then stepping back, I'm actually going to come forward a little bit, stepping back and bringing your hips right in between the crown of the head and the heels, cinching your belly in, breathing. So you're resisting gravity with your entire body pretty much. Steady breath. Relax your jaw. And then bring your knees down and come onto your belly. And just rest for a moment. Rock your hips a little bit side to side. Just letting it go. And then let's do a quad stretch here. So bring your right arm across the front of your mat and reach back for your foot with your left hand. Maybe you can spin your fingers around so that you get that stretch in the shoulder, bringing the heel towards the buttock. So no twisting in your knee. So lifting up, breathing, and then releasing that side. And then we'll bring the left arm across the front of the mat, reach back with the right hand, the right foot, bringing heel towards the buttock, lifting up, breathing. Nice steady breath. breath is a little compromised here, so see if you can keep it nice and steady, maybe even hearing the breath. Keep it full, even relaxed, and release that foot, and just let your feet go side to side, just let it go. And then from there, just bring your hands back, kind of by your lower rib cage, bringing your hands to the floor, and then drawing your shoulders back and down and together. The shoulder blades come together, and rolling up. You're not pressing into your hands, you're just keeping them there just for a point of reference, but not to push into the hands. So rolling up, drawing the shoulders together. Keep the tops of your feet on the floor. And the neck long, breathing. Try to find that same Ujjayi breath here. And then slowly roll down. And release and rock your hips a little bit side to side. And then let's try sweeping the arms back, clasping your hands at your sacrum. Bring your left leg on top of right leg and lift up. Squeeze the knees together, reach back through the toes. Steady breath. And then switch your legs, switch the cross of the legs. Maybe your hands are resting down on your hips, or maybe you're lifting them up. Squeezing the knees together, breathing, and release. Unwinding the legs, just rock your hips again. Coming back to your resting heart rate as quickly as your body can. You might do that by focusing on your exhale, just making it a little longer. And then let's come up and come to downward dog. Just take a breath there. And then we're going to come into a wide-legged forward bend. So I'm going to step my right foot forward, whichever way direction you're going. Just coming into a wide-legged stance. And you could move a little, bending into one knee and the other, moving your elbows and your shoulders. Just letting it be easy. Head is below the heart, so just letting yourself kind of calm down there. And then we'll walk our hands, come back to center, and then walk our hands over towards the lower right leg or ankle. Keep drawing the left hip back so you're feeling a big stretch in the left side of your body. Relax your neck. Tipping the tail up. And then we'll walk the hands through center and over towards the opposite foot, the left foot. Feeling the big stretch from the hip, through the waistline, rib cage. Playing with how your weight is distributed over the feet, so you might tip your tail up and come forward a little bit. And then releasing and walking your hands back to center, and again just bending into one knee and the other. And then we might turn the toes out slightly and bend into your right knee. Let your hips come back so you're not bringing the knee far forward, really. Bringing your elbow perhaps into your right knee, maybe coming to your forearm, or you can stay up on your hands. So you're coming into this runner stretch, we call it. You could keep the sole of your left foot on the floor. So keeping your long spine, finding your breath. Big stretch of the inner thighs. And then come back through center and over to the other side. Toes of your left foot slightly turned out, either to the forearm or just staying up on the hands, but big stretch of the inner thigh. Long spine. Nice. And then back to center. And pause for a moment. You could just maybe bring your hands back and clasp the hands at your sacrum and let the arms come up, stretching into your shoulders. Trying not to round forward there. And then release the hands. And let's come all the way up to stand. You can bring your hands to your hips. Come all the way up. Just pause for a moment. And then let's do a few more standing poses. So turning your toes of your right foot towards the front of the mat. So you're about a leg's length for triangle. So reaching through your arms and letting the hips come back. You could also do this with your hands clasped for a little more core intensive variation. So lengthening through the lower torso. Your hips are angling back towards your heel. Watch for the head to come forward. So just let it come back and be neck long. You can look straight ahead, look up. So either arm position, maybe you start with the hands clasped and then open into the traditional variation of triangle. And then we'll bend into the right knee, coming back up, bending into the right knee, and we'll come into extended side angle. So you might do that with the hands clasped to begin with. So again, hips angle back towards the heel, bending into your right knee, long through both sides of your torso. If your hands are clasped and you'd like to, you could bring your right elbow to your knee. The arm comes up and over, or down to the ankle. Lots of options, breathing. And then let's come back up. You could come through Warrior Two. So use your core to kind of bring you back up. So take a breath in Warrior Two, gazing out over your fingertips. Maybe coming a little deeper into the bend of the knee. And then you could flip your hands and reverse your warrior. And then we'll just come back up, straightening your legs. We'll come into the forward bend again. Just ease it out, bending into your knees a little bit, making it easy. Sometimes it's nice to bring the hands behind the head and get a little tractioning of your neck and upper back. So whatever variation here feels good. You could also clasp your hands again. And just another breath. And then we'll come back up and we'll do the other side. So we'll turn the toes of the left foot towards the front of the mat. Legs are about a leg's length apart. And we're going to do triangle, so we might want to start with our hands clasped. And then we're reaching the hips back towards the heel, long through both sides of our torso, maybe looking up, keeping the neck long, or you can look straight ahead. So this right hip is wrapping open. You could release your left hand if you want, coming into this more traditional arm variation. Try not to overly extend your front knee, the left knee, so just keep it straight. Not everybody has that issue, but sometimes I will kind of push too hard into the knee joint here, so use your core. And then we're going to come into extended side angle, so bending your left knee, you could reach back again, clasp the hands. Hips are angling back towards the heel, long through both sides of the torso. And then maybe taking the traditional arm variation, which might be down to the ankle, kind of using the left arm to press the knee open. Still feeling this wrapping of the hip and the rib cage, looking up. Keep the neck long. And then remember we're coming to Warrior Two, so really strong legs. And come up into Warrior Two, gazing over your fingers. Steady gaze, steady breath. Turning your palm open, your front palm, and come into this reverse warrior pose. Maybe gaze is up. And then coming back, extending or straightening your legs and coming forward again into this forward bend. And then let's come into frog pose. So that could be with your feet together and your knees apart. And you might come down to your forearms. So keeping the spine long. Maybe the hands relaxed. And just taking a few breaths here. Kind of feeling for just the right place with your hips. If they're too far back or too far forward, I don't know if there's such a thing as too far, but just finding the place, or maybe even moving a little bit with it, just finding the place where you feel like you're getting something beneficial. So you get a different stretch in a different place depending on where your hips are. And then maybe coming forward onto the belly and just bringing the legs together and maybe the feet doing the little windshield wipery thing with your feet. And just take a couple breaths here on your belly. Take a couple of breaths into your belly, letting your belly kind of press into the floor. Just bringing yourself back to a little calmer state, grounding yourself. And then let's roll onto our backs. And draw your knees in towards your chest. Just rocking a little bit side to side. Feeling your back against the floor. So I know that some of you have balls at home. Let's use a ball for some core work. For you. Want to get little? Okay. Thank you. So bringing a ball out if you have one. And it's okay if you don't have one, but we can still do these exercises without, but I know that Sasha and Shamanti have balls. So bringing the ball underneath your sacrum. And just to begin with, just bringing it there, and you can do a little bit of just press your tailbone into the ball and then just kind of nodding the tailbone up and down. So you're just moving your pelvis. And then with your tailbone pressing into the ball, bringing the legs up, you can bring your arms out to the sides. So keep pressing that tailbone into the ball as you inhale your right leg down, pressing it in, exhale up, and then the other side, inhale down, exhale back up, and then we'll go with both feet. So heels together, toes apart, inhaling down, pressing your tailbone into the ball as you exhale up, and let's just go like that. Inhale down, exhale up, so keeping the belly long, kind of drawing the belly in and lengthening it. Keep going. next time you bring your heels down, you could just let them come all the way down, and maybe you could kind of drape over the ball and let the front of your hips open. Feeling your breath here. Just taking a couple more breaths. Just kind of passive opening of the front of the hips. And then walking the feet back in. And let's just take the ball out for now. Just keep it handy. We can use it again for some rolling in a bit. But coming back onto your back. And again, your arms are out by the sides, bringing your legs straight up. So if the knees need to be bent because your hamstrings are tight, that's fine. But try not to bring the legs back towards your chest, so they're just straight up. And then we're going to just go side to side. So keep your sacrum on the floor and move slowly. So you're controlling the movement with musculature rather than momentum. So you're going really slowly side to side, and we're going to keep going. So feel the muscles in your lower belly are helping to move you, and the obliques on the sides of your torso are putting the brakes on so that your sacrum stays on the floor. Try to keep the upper body kind of relaxed, so you're using the center of your body. You should be starting to feel it if you're not already. It seems kind of easy, but the more you do it, it becomes tiring. I'd like 2 more times, side to side. And then draw the knees in. Just rocking a little bit side to side. And then this time, let's straighten your left leg out and lift the right leg straight up, but don't put your left leg down on the floor, keep it lifted. So again, pressing tailbone towards the floor, feeling the belly long, and then take a twist. So bring your right leg over, but keep the left leg lifted. Keep this right side of your body and your right hip lengthening down, pressing through the soles of your feet, keeping your back on the floor. And then you could bend your right knee and come back up, or bring it up straight, and then switch. Bring left leg straight, right leg comes almost down to the floor, and then you're going to come into the twist, keeping your right leg lifted. Keeping the left shoulder on the floor, lengthening down through the left side, left hip away from the ribs, pressing through the foot. Breathing. And then coming back up, you can bend the knees and draw the knees into the chest. Rocking a little bit side to side. Now let's do that. Let your left leg come to the floor and bring your right leg up. And you can use a strap if you can't reach your foot without rolling your back up. Just use a strap around the foot. Or you can bring your left hand around the outer edge of the foot. Bring your right arm out to the side and come into the twist. This time with your legs down on the floor and your hand on your foot or the strap. And so here, feel for your right hip to roll down, and try to keep your right shoulder on the floor. What does it take to do that? You might have to lift your foot up. We're going to stand up in a moment and do this in a standing position. So feel it here. I'm just letting us get a little rest before we do that. And then coming back up, you can also just draw that knee in. And then we'll straighten your left leg up and your right leg out. Extend your right leg out on the floor, bringing either the hand or the strap to the sole of the left foot. I like to reach for the outer edge of my left foot. Your left arm comes out to the side and you're coming into the twist. Try to keep your left shoulder on the floor. So the sole of your left foot might not come all the way down. You might have to keep it lifted. And you're looking back over your left shoulder. So you're in a twist. And then this left hip rolls down. So it's an energized position, even though we're kind of working with gravity in a more comfortable way, we'll say. Not resisting gravity quite so much. Nice steady breath, even in the twist. And then you could bend your left knee and just come back up, and let's rock a little bit side to side. And let's do that standing. So let's come up and do a few one-legged balances. I'm gonna get rid of my mat for that. My mats. So, hang on 1 second. Just gonna close that out. Okay, let's come to stand on, we'll stand on the left leg first. So let's just start by lifting up bending your knee and bringing the right foot into the inner knee. And just finding your balancing pose here. So feel the left foot spreading onto the floor, making a nice base for the pose. And then maybe you can extend your right leg. Maybe you can reach the foot. So you could use a strap for that. And then come into the twist. So we just did this on the floor. So keep feeling for the right hip to draw down. And just another breath, and then bend to the right knee and release it. So you have a strap handy if you need it. I'm just gonna try it with a strap myself just to thank you. So you could take the strap around your foot and just start on one leg. So bringing maybe the inner edge of your right foot into the knee and feeling your right foot really spreading onto the floor. Finding your long spine. And then either with your strap or with your hand on the foot, coming into that same twist. Strap just extends your arm. So you're opening your chest. We just did this pose also when we did the revolved triangle. It's basically the same thing. So just different ways to do it with gravity. And then release it. And set your strap down. And just circle it. Circle your knees in one direction and the other. And let's do tree pose. So we'll stand on, let's start with standing on the left foot. Bringing your right foot maybe up into the thigh or even into the calf. We want to keep the hips pretty level here. And then a couple of arm variations. You could reach your left hand back for the right elbow and just Key calls this a banyan tree. Or you could let your arms come up like the branches of a tree in the more traditional variation. Maybe lifting your gaze. Makes it harder if you look up at the ceiling. And if you want it to get really hard, you could play with closing your eyes. It changes everything. Just taking a couple more breaths. Feeling really strong in your standing leg. Really rooted. And then release your arms. And step out and circle. And then we'll do the other side. So we'll stand on the right foot. Bringing left sole of the left foot up into, maybe into the thigh, or you can have it down lower. Generally, we always say don't put it into the knee. It's not gonna ruin your knee, but it's just a little weaker there to press the foot into the knee. So pressing the foot into the thigh and the thigh back into the foot, and then maybe the arm variation of your choice. Lifting the gaze, finding the breath. Wobbling is okay. It's just your nervous system trying to figure it out. Taking another breath, and slowly and consciously stepping out and circling. Just letting it go. And let's do one more one-legged and then we'll move on. So let's try standing on your right leg, bringing your hands back, clasping your hands, and you could lift your left foot, keep the knees together, and then sit back. So this is chair pose or fierce pose, Utkatasana. So your hips are coming back. The knee is coming back kind of over the heel. Knees are pressing together. Finding something to gaze at. Lifting belly. Maybe sitting back a little more. And then slowly release. Let it go. It's not an easy pose. Then we'll stand on the left foot. Clasp the hands. Bring the knees together. You're going to wobble. Press your knees together and sit back. So the upper body doesn't round forward. Breathing. Gazing. Noticing the two sides of your body. A little bit different maybe. And releasing that side, circling it out. Let's do one more standing pose and then we'll come back down to the floor. So this time we're just gonna sit the hips back and maybe make our prayer hands and bring your left elbow to the outer right knee and taking a twist. So the knees stay together and the hips move back together, like you're gonna sit back on a chair. And the upper body twists. So using the knee to get the leverage with the elbow to open the chest. And then just release, come into a forward bend. I remember when I first started doing yoga and I just hated this pose so much. And I hardly ever do it. I mean, we do it when we do the lunge, like this. We already did it, but not so much with the feet together. So let's try the other side. So knees together, kind of pressing together, hands in prayer, sitting back. Bring your right elbow to your left knee. Sitting your hips back, twisting. Using your knee and elbow for that leverage to twist. Keeping hips both reaching back. Like you're going to sit right down onto a chair. And release. That's an intense pose. So walk your feet apart, maybe like the width of the mat. Turn your toes out a little. And just let it go. And then we'll just sit down into the squat again. You can always roll a mat up and put it under the heels if you need to, or a towel or something like that. And you might like to try crow. So you don't have to come all the way up. You can play with it. So bringing your knees and elbows pretty wide, hands like a little bit wider than your knees, and then bring your weight forward and just play with lifting the feet. Keeping the spine long and neutral. So you don't have to come all the way onto the elbows. You could just play with taking some of the weight out of your feet. That's crow pose. And then just come back down and come to your knees. Take prayer pose. Lengthening the spine, decompressing your spine a little bit. Breathing. Maybe bringing the hips back, like child's pose, and the arms back and resting. And then let's come into a seated position. And let's bring the legs wide. So we've done this standing, and now we're going to do it in this seated position. So toes are pointing up, and you might just bring your hands back and stay right here for the moment. So if you're moving forward, it's with the heart coming first. So we're not trying to round to get to the floor. We don't care about the floor. If your floor at home is anything like my floor at home, then you really don't want to get down there and breathe in that dust and dog hair. So just making your way slowly. And then come back up and just take a twist. Maybe twisting towards the left foot. And then twisting in the opposite direction, just turning your spine. And then back to center. And let's now twist towards the left foot and come towards the left foot. So the right sit bone might lift a little, but we're not trying to lift it too much. Mostly trying to kind of keep it down, but. And so you might reach for that foot. You can use your strap also, if you like. So feel length in your torso. And feel length in your breath. Sometimes it's just a tiny adjustment that will help you to find better breathing. Not just physical adjustment, but mental also. Just a little more awareness. And then maybe you're bringing your left arm. You could actually bring that, maybe even the left shoulder down into the knee or the elbow. Maybe the arm comes forward, or you could bring it alongside your lower leg. And then we'll take a side stretch. So just pay attention to your neck. Your head kind of wants to droop. See if you can keep the neck long. Again, you'll feel a little lift of your right sit bone. Might not be perfectly planted, but we're not lifting it up too much. Just to get to the foot or whatever. And then coming back up. And then we're going to twist towards the right foot. And then come into that sort of the forward bend over the right leg. Maybe reaching for the foot or your strap. Again, feeling for the left sit bone to move back towards the floor. So long through the left side of your body. We've already done a lot of opening in the sides of our body. And again, adjusting yourself so that you can breathe here. So that might mean backing off 10% or just making a little room for the breath. You're letting your nervous system know that you can tolerate it when you breathe well. And if you're cutting off the breath, it's not great. It's sending the wrong signals to the brain. Plus, we're practicing breathing so that when we're in real life situations that are stressful, we have practiced what to do, which is to breathe through. We're training our nervous systems to tolerate stress. We're evolving our nervous systems. And then either bringing your elbow into your knee or maybe the shoulder into the knee. Maybe you can reach your foot, or maybe the arm comes up. Taking that side stretch over towards the right, watching for the head to droop. You can look down or straight ahead or even up, but just keep your neck long. So you're not cutting off your spinal cord by dropping and crunching. Or your breath, for that matter. Just another breath. And releasing that, coming back to center and just one more little forward bend. And then let's bring the soles of the feet together. So this is more like a tortoise position with your feet further. This is more like cobbler, so keep them further forward and allow yourself to round. So draw the belly in and kind of widen in the upper back. Maybe even let your head come down. Maybe your head can come into the feet. Mine doesn't quite reach, but so you're kind of shaped like a turtle, a tortoise. Turtles are so cool. And then coming back up and bring your feet in now for cobbler's pose. I like to grab my ankles and then just draw the shoulders down. Maybe you can come forward, letting the knees drop open. You also might try opening your feet like a book. And then we're going to come back onto our back. So you could draw your knees together and then just roll down onto your back. And draw your knees into your chest for a moment. Let's take a quick twist before we come into our corpse pose. So draw your right knee in, extend your left leg, and let your right knee come over. Taking an easy twist. Just letting the breath kind of come back down to a resting breath, letting it be a natural breath. And then rolling back onto your back, extend your right leg, draw the left knee in. And let that knee come over for the twist. Maybe the left arm comes out to the side. Just taking your own comfortable variation of the twist. Feeling your body starting to be relaxed. And then rolling onto your back and taking any last movements, maybe drawing knees into the chest, just rocking a little. And then we'll just extend our legs out into corpse pose, bringing your arms down by your sides. Your palms are facing open and backs of the hands are on the floor. You could kind of tuck your shoulder blades under you and then just really surrender the weight of your body. Coming into your corpse pose. So letting yourself be very surrendered. On your back. Just taking a few moments to feel, just kind of feeling how you feel now after an hour and 15 minutes of consciously moving and breathing. Just letting your practice kind of integrate and letting go of things that you feel don't serve you, and just allowing yourself to feel good about your time and your practice. It's good that you showed up and that you put in the effort for yourself, took the time. It's not always easy to get onto your mat, but once you're there, you're there. So a few more breaths, and really letting go of all of your muscles, so really surrendering the weight of your body to the floor. And just feeling your natural breath. And if your eyes are closed, you could keep them closed as you roll over onto your side, let's say your right side, and come back up to your seat. And find your spine for a couple breaths. So, feeling really grounded still. The weight of your body is heavy, but you're also lengthening up and just feeling that lift, kind of drawing the energy upward, letting your shoulders relax and coming back to your breath. And then you might bring your hands together at your heart. You might just pause to recall your intention for practice today if you set an intention. Bowing your head to your heart, to your practice, your own inner teacher, your higher self, or your higher power. Namaste. Thank you for coming and practicing with me, and I will be here all week for Ki. So I hope to see you again. Namaste.